Let me pause this. I want to give the system a chance. Good morning. It's Blessed Be Wednesday. I'm getting the show ready. We're going to kick off in literally a minute or two. If you're watching this as a replay on Facebook or on YouTube, please just skip to the intro and get on with the program. It's a cracking show on this Wednesday. If I say so myself, powerful, very interesting. But if it's live, just we're going to kick off, as I say, in a few moments. Let me know where you're watching from. I want to make sure everybody's online. The whole system is shooting the broadcast from Europe here in my Mustard Seed studio, sending it off everywhere around the world. It's wonderful. I love it. So in a few seconds, well, half a minute, a couple of minutes, we'll be kicking off. Just want to make sure everything's working. By the way, how are you? How are you this morning? Are you well? And where are you watching from? Let me know. Caroline, good morning. Good morning, Caroline. You're such a blessing, Caroline. Lovely. Yeah, it's going to be a great program. It's going to be a great program. Just want to make sure that the whole system is online. Be on Israel today again. The third temple. It's the focus today. Israel this week. So here we go. DJ Clifford Hopper, hi, I see you. Watching from Northern Ireland, welcome. We're going to start the program now. See you on the other side.
All engine running.
All aboard!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Liftoff and the clock has started.
4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Good morning. Boker Tov. Good morning world. It's me, Rory, Alec. Whether you're in India, right across Asia, time to dust the sleep out the eyes, and it's time to wake up and shine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Casting from the heart of Europe. It's me here in Austria. To you guys out there, a big God bless you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's time to celebrate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's right, Jesus is alive. He's on the throne.
Nice to be in orbit.
And he loves you this morning. The chickens are up, the rooster's crowing. It's time for
Good morning, world.
Good morning, world. Me, Rory, Alec. Great to be with you this morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday morning. I hope my camera has gone to sleep. I can't believe it. What has happened here? Can you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Remote picture, where are you gone? a massive failure here on it's live television. What can I say? Black screens, cameras sleeping, but we're here. It is Wednesday, the 2nd of June. We've just gone past 8 o'clock on the morning. And how do you like that? Yeah. Somewhere in the Middle East, there's a young man who goes about his business on his back wheel. I mean, talk about giving heart attacks to angels, right? Anyway, I'm sure he's alive to tell the tale. This week, we are focusing on Israel. By the way, welcome where all you coming from. Reba Ann, welcome. Hey, it's lovely to have you join the broadcast. Pop these up here. And then I rearrange these. I'll pop them over here. I'm in full control of these lovely. And Clifford, hello Clifford. Nice to have you join us as well from Northern Ireland. Wherever you're watching, let me know. But this week, we're going to be continuing our focus on Israel. The rebuilding of the third temple in Jerusalem, the extraordinary fruitfulness of the agriculture, the soil, and the farming community, what they're achieving in Israel per square meter of growth and produce is the highest in the world. I mean, what is going on here? This is a nation that was born in a day. And if you missed yesterday's program, I really want to encourage you, check it out, okay? Because we kicked off with a live interview to Israel. If you missed Good Morning World yesterday, it's worth watching. And tomorrow we've got a lot coming up, although Carola and I are making strawberry jam for you guys tomorrow. It's that time of the year, right? Seasonal eating. Coming back to today's show, many Israelis are turning to Yeshua. Yeah, Jesus Christ is not a Christian. If you didn't know that and you're not into too much spiritual stuff, stick around. This is an interesting program, Good Morning World. Yeshua, Jesus, actually was a rabbi to around 2,000 years ago. And you're going to see how he's touched the lives of many Israelis. So, let's get on with the show. What's happening on this morning? I'm glad you asked. All roads lead to Rome. No, to Jerusalem is where actually you have a look at the news every day. You have a look at the history of this little nation that's got the whole stage, the whole world stage on its toes. Today's show, Bob CORNUKE takes us on a quest to discover the precise location for the rebuilding of the third temple in Jerusalem. Is it the Temple Mount, where we have the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque? A surprising conclusion that could allow the immediate rebuilding of the end times temple. And we take birthday celebrations up a notch. I forget which shoulder. This one here. My friends on Facebook, we're going to celebrate your birthdays, and your name's going in that little chest over there. Also, Sarah Lieberman's going to be ministering to us in worship from the heart of Israel, all coming up on today's show. It's going to be a busy show. So why don't we head off, should I say, to the old, yes, and Reba Ann, I see your comment here. You're from India. You guys are from Northern Ireland, from India, yesterday from Spain, the Nepal. It's wonderful. Swansea, Wales. Hey, welcome. It's lovely to have you guys all on the program. But it's an action-packed show and a lot of information that I think is very important for this week of Good Morning World. So let's focus not only the ancient city of Jerusalem, not only the old part of Jerusalem, but on something that nations have wanted to conquer. It's such a spiritual battle taking place around where the third temple might be built. So let's go over and join Bob CORNUKE in the old city.
Good morning, world.
Could it even be possible that the greatest archaeological mistake of all times has occurred in locating the temples of Herod and Solomon on the Temple Mount? And if so, where is the true location of the temple today? The prophetic implications are absolutely astounding, and the political repercussions from it could alter the entire complexion of the Middle East.
Hi, my name's Bob CORNUKE, and we're in Old Jerusalem, and I'm about to take you on an expedition like you've never been on before. We're going to look for the lost location of Solomon's and Herod's temples. I believe that archaeology has really missed this one. I think that history is stunningly wrong, saying that the Temple Mount is the place of where Herod's temples and Solomon's temples were located. So we're going to take out the Bible and we're going to use it as a roadmap and as a compass to solve this most ancient mystery.
In around 957 BC, God had King Solomon build a temple for worship, sacrifice, and to house the Ark of the Covenant. This magnificent facility stood until 586 BC, when the Babylonians destroyed it and took the Israelites captive. In around 515 BC, Zerubbabel and other Israeli exiles were able to return to Jerusalem in order to rebuild the temple on top of the demolished first temple. This second temple wasn't as spectacular as Solomon's, but served its purpose until 20 BC, when King Herod initiated a significant renovation and expansion project. This is the temple that stood in Jesus' day, where he taught on several occasions and where he confronted the money changers. In 70 AD, 4 years after the Jews rebelled against the Roman Empire, military commander Titus and the Roman army utterly destroyed the temple. Today, many Jews and Christians are anticipating the day when a third temple will be rebuilt, as foretold in the book of Ezekiel. Tradition says it needs to be rebuilt on the same spot where Solomon and Herod's temple stood. Will that be the Muslim-controlled Temple Mount, or is it somewhere else? This makes the search for the temple's actual location that much more imperative. Biblical explorer Bob Cornuke has spent the past few decades searching for the real Mount Sinai, the Ark of the Covenant, Noah's Ark, and the Apostle Paul's shipwreck in Malta. His search for the location of Solomon and Herod's temples really began several years ago when he was reading Matthew 24.
The Bible tells us in Matthew 24, where Jesus is speaking, and he's speaking to his disciples, and he's walking away from the temple. And he is looking up at the temple, and he tells the disciples, he said,
"Truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down."
Not one stone. Total annihilation. And that's what we hear from history, that the temple was totally destroyed.
The hill called Zion and Jerusalem, the building there, that is to say, the temple, has been utterly removed or shaken. It was so thoroughly laid even with the ground by those that dug it up to the foundation that there was left nothing to make those that came thither believe it had ever been inhabited.
But if Herod's temple was utterly removed, how can the western wall of the temple exist today? Either Jesus was inaccurate in Matthew 24, or perhaps the western wall wasn't part of the temple at all.
About 63 BC, the Romans took this city. General Pompey had the gates opened up to him. And from that point on, the Romans had control here for over 300 years. The big question is, where did they stay? No one has ever found one brick that they know of that's from the Roman fortress. I believe it's because it's been on the Temple Mount. That was the Roman fortress. That huge complex, if you look at it today, it is in the same dimensions as many Roman fortresses. So where did the Romans stay? They stayed on the Temple Mount.
Locating the Roman fort on the Temple Mount explains how the temple could be utterly destroyed, yet still have remains existing to this day. The western wall, instead of being the remains of Herod's temple, may actually be a part of the Roman fort. Eliezer Ben-Jar, the commander of the Israelites taking refuge at Masada, said,
Jerusalem is now demolished to the very foundations, and hath nothing left but that monument of it preserved. I mean the camp of those Romans that hath destroyed it, which still dwells upon its ruins.
The traditional view places the Roman fort called the Tower of Antonia at the northwest corner of the Temple Mount. This 3-acre plot supposedly housed the entire 10th Roman legion. But how large a legion? History tells us that a legion is approximately 6,000 soldiers, With the support personnel, it could reach as high as 10,000 people.
If I was in command of the 10th Heavy Roman Legion, sent to Jerusalem to keep the peace, I would have occupied the high ground. I would have put my soldiers on the Temple Mount. And as I look at the little bitty building that is called Fort Antonio today, it's almost laughable to believe that 6,000 soldiers and some 4,000 camp followers occupied that tiny building.
Would Rome, the proud rulers of Europe and the Middle East, be content to locate their fort as an appendage to the Jewish temple? Or would they be more likely to commandeer the entire Temple Mount to build their regional military headquarters? Again, we turn to historian Josephus.
Now, as to the Tower of Antonia, it might seem to be composed of several cities. For if we go up to this Tower of Antonia, we gain the city, since we shall then be upon the top of the hill.
The only location that is on top of a hill and is large enough to house 10,000 soldiers and support staff is the 36-acre Temple Mount. In 333 AD, the so-called Bordeaux pilgrim traveled to Jerusalem and describes what he found.
I'm in a high tower about 100 feet high right next to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and it's a fascinating place because from this position, the Bordeaux pilgrim said that he looked due east and all he could see was a long wall of a Roman fort. Well, when I look due east of here, all I see is the long wall of the Temple Mount. So what I think the Bordeaux pilgrim was describing was looking at the Roman fort from this spot. In fact, that's pretty conclusive. That's what he was looking at, was the Temple Mount complex. Certainly, I believe, was a Roman fortress that housed the 10th Roman Legion.
So if historical evidence places the Roman fort on the Temple Mount, why do the majority of people believe that this is where the temple was located?
When it was over with and the temple was destroyed by Titus in 70 AD, that it was just like a field with blowing grass. You wouldn't even know that it was there. And so the Jews that were quarantined from Israel for so long, it's hard for them to determine where the temple was. So this has been the place that everybody settled on. In fact, in the 4th century, there was many places that people were trying to figure out, where is the temple really located? People were not sure.
One important event that promoted the idea of the Temple Mount being the location of the temple was the invasion of Jerusalem by the Crusaders.
And in 1099, there was thousands of Crusaders, and they came and they conquered this Temple Mount complex. And when they went on top of it, there was great carnage. A lot of Jews, a lot of Muslims were killed, and they crawled up on the dome. It wasn't gold then, but they crawled up on that dome area up there, and they ripped off the crescent moon, and they replaced it with a cross, and they called it Templum Domini, which means the Temple of God. That, I think, started a tradition.
70 years after the Crusaders conquered Jerusalem, and 1,100 years after Herod's temple was destroyed, a Jew from Spain named Benjamin of Tudela visited Jerusalem and wrote that the Temple Mount was the location of the former temples. His emphatic statement seemed to seal the tradition, and from that point on, it has been virtually unchallenged.
Well, I believe that this is not the place of Solomon's temples and Herod's temples, but it's actually in the city of David, a few thousand feet south of here. And we're going to go to the city of David right now, and we're going to try and see if that is the true place where God tells us the temples were located.
The city of David is a 12-acre plot of land just south of the Temple Mount.
We're here in the city of David, and it was back in the 1800s where they established that this was the city of David with the discovery of the Gihon Springs and Hezekiah's Tunnel.
When King David arrived in Jerusalem, the city of David was inhabited by the Jebusites. David's men captured their fortress, and 2 Samuel 5:9 says,
So David lived in the fortress and called it the city of David.
And in the scriptures in 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 18, it is revealed that David was, after he conquered the Jebusite city, which is right under the city of David, he was required by the Lord to purchase the threshing floor from Ornan the Jebusite. And then in 2 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 1, we see that Solomon, it says that Solomon first began to build the house of the Lord by the threshing floor that was purchased from Ornan the Jebusite.
Solomon's temple was in the city of David, the Jeshurite fortress. I can't see how you can argue with 2 Chronicles 3:1. If we're going to take the Bible at face value, that's where Solomon's temple was.
The city of David is also referred to as Zion. 2 Samuel 5:7 says,
David captured the fortress of Zion, that is, the city of David.
Eusebius, a 3rd century historian and curator of the library in Caesarea, wrote that the temple was in Zion.
The hill called Zion and Jerusalem, the building there, that is to say, the temple.
King David took the Zion citadel castle and changed his name to the city of David. It means Mount of Zion is the city of David, or citadel of Zion is the city of David.
We're standing in the area of the city of David. Here's an archaeological site, and there's the south wall of the traditional Temple Mount. So we're in the general area of the Temple Mount. And this area we have seen in photographs in the 1930s. And we see these terraced farms, and you can even see the people out there tilling the ground. And it's very interesting that the Bible says this in a prophecy. The minor prophet Micah says in 3:12, Zion shall be plowed like a field. Jerusalem shall become heaps of ruins, and the mountains of the temple like the bare hills of the forest. The temple is going to be like a plowed field. Well, there's no plowed field up there. Those walls have been up there, a couple thousand years. If that is really the temple, Micah says that should be a plowed field. It never was. This area was. So we can be assured that in the city of David, it matches with what the prophet says and what the Bible says in history. There's not a theory that it doesn't have a long list of critics that line up, especially the temple theory. It's so shocking to a lot of people. They say, wait a second, the temple in the city of David and the stronghold of Zion? And then they say, wait, we have a great verse here that tells you that you're wrong about the temple being in the city of David.
Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord from the city of David, which is Zion.
People are saying, well, it was brought up out of the city of David, thus it was brought where? They surmise to the Temple Mount. The Bible doesn't say where it was taken. It was placed into the Holy of Holies after that, underneath the wings of the cherubim. Now, where was it taken when it was taken out of the city of David? There was a huge festival where all the priests of Israel came, where they slaughtered so many animals that they couldn't even count them, the Bible says. The city of David's just a 12-acre area, very, very small confines. So they couldn't have done that in the city. They went and had this big festival, like a state fair. It's not going to be done in City Hall. And then they brought it back into the temple, which was in the city of David.
Good morning, world. Good morning, morning, morning.
Explosive stuff. But it's birthday time. My camera's out of focus. I'm sorry about that. We'll have to fix it up at the next segment. I'm going to go back to the old city in a few moments. But let's celebrate birthdays. Svea Garland, happy birthday. Karen Laura Brocksmith, happy birthday. And then Billy Smith. Let me just slow my computer down. It's in a rush here. It's like, hey, it's Bless Me Wednesday. Camera, slow down. Slow down, computer, slow down. Billy Smith, happy birthday, dear Billy. IGBN TV, Indira Global, happy birthday. Shelly Ribeiro, happy birthday. Bill Pettypass, happy birthday. And Cheryl Bolton Van Winkle, happy birthday, Cheryl. This is a blurred Rory Alec live from Austria, wishing you guys on this Wednesday morning a very happy birthday. It says the 3rd of June, so maybe I've got my dates wrong. You never know. This is live television. Let's go back to the old city. Let's join Bob CORNUKE, and it's fascinating. It's explosive stuff. Here we go.
Good morning, morning, morning.
A little-known historical account describes 2 covered bridges or colonnades that span some 600 feet between Fort Antonia on the north and Herod's temple to the south. Josephus describes them.
Now as to the Tower of Antonia, It was situated at the corner of two colonnades of the court of the temple, of that on the west and that on the north.
He then describes Fort Antonia as a guard to the temple and mentions that it is located on a higher hill and that it hindered the sight of the temple on the north. These descriptions confirm that the fort was on the higher Temple Mount, while the temple was 600 feet to the south and at a lower elevation. There's a story in the book of Acts that also confirms this. It describes the time that the commander of the Roman soldiers quickly deployed troops from the fort down to the temple to rescue the Apostle Paul from a riotous situation.
At once the commander took along some soldiers and centurions and ran down to them.
Then, verse 40 describes how Paul addressed the crowd.
Paul, standing on the stairs, spoke to them.
These were the stairs leading back up to the fortress Antonia. Another clue to the location of the temple is the Gihon Springs. The freshwater source is mentioned in the Bible in 1 Kings 1:38, where Solomon was brought to the Gihon to anoint him as king. Fresh running water is also necessary for worship and to perform animal sacrifices which took place in the temple. 1 Kings 8:62 tells us, on the day of the temple dedication,
Solomon offered a sacrifice of fellowship offerings to the Lord, 22,000 cattle and 120,000 sheep and goats.
Cleaning up after the sacrifice of that many animals would require a huge amount of running water. Roman historian Tacitus tells us the temple
contained an inexhaustible spring.
You have to have running water from a spring to wash and purify the priests before they go into the temple to worship. Here we have clear, clean, running water coming from the Gihon Springs, which travels through Hezekiah's tunnel and comes here to this pool of water. Before the priests would go into the temple, whether it be Solomon's temple or Herod's temple, they needed to be bathed in spring water. The only spring water in all Jerusalem is right here in the Gihon Springs. There is absolutely no spring water on the Temple Mount. There's no way that they would have washed themselves in the Gihon Springs and then walked a quarter mile to a half a mile up to the Temple Mount before they were allowed to go into the temple precincts. Here to be
tradition, when valued higher than evidence, can be a stumbling block to finding the truth. But tradition can also provide valuable clues when accompanied by scriptural, historical, or physical evidence. So local traditions need to be considered in our search for the temple location.
I've been a tour guide here for more than 13 years, and there's some amazing things that we're discovering now that are to the south of the Temple Mount area, where we believe we found the Temple of Solomon, which is going to be to the southern part. And Solomon's temple is possibly really in this area, close to the city of David.
We know from all my life that the temple, it's in this area. Nobody say that the temple is under the mosque. Nobody say that the temple here in the corner, and nobody say the temple here. But all the people who understand in these things, they say the temple is under the city of David. This is the city of David.
The city of David.
Okay. They say, the Jewish say, some of the Jews say that the temple has been here.
Right, the Jew on the Temple Mount.
Yeah, in Temple Mount. There is another people from Jewish, they say the temple is in the mosque, under the mosque. So from my opinion, or from what I see or hear, most of the people say that it's under the city of David.
So you're saying that the Bible is telling you, and archaeologists are telling you,
the Bible say this is the place.
The city of David.
City of David. The Bible say. Yeah. The Bible say that this is, but like if I speak, nobody will hear. Another people, nobody will hear, but it's something politic.
Beyond politics and tradition, is there any archaeological data to support the idea of the temple being in the city of David?
A couple years ago, I was going on a tour of the city of David, which is an underground labyrinth of tunnels and caves. A lot of these stones are believed to be from the time of Abraham, the Jebusite fortress, and things mentioned in the Bible. But as I'm walking along, I saw this flicker of light way up in a shaft where men were working. I heard metal on metal, and I saw the flicker of light. And up inside where they were working, I found out later on, was a place that we believe could be part of Solomon's temple. And we're going to be going there. But it all started for me right up there through that shaft where I saw that light 2 years ago. This area was excavated recently by Eli Shukran, who was this director of archaeology in the city of David. I think he stumbled across an area that was within part of the structure of Solomon's temple.
This is from the first temple period, even before that. We're going back to the Middle Bronze period, 800 years before King David.
800 years before King David would place this around the time of Abraham and Melchizedek.
They use this place as a worship area, and then they still use it till the end of this area. It's like the end of the 8th century, beginning of 7th century BC. And this is the only place that we know in the city of David that we can say here it was some worship with standing stone, with the stela, with place for sacrifice, with all what we have around here. And this is a place for worship, this is a place for praying, this is a place for a sacrifice, and this is a place people connect with the God.
We're here in this incredible archaeological site. Right below my feet here is an olive press. You can see where the wood beam went in here and they ground the olives. Olives are very important for anointing someone going into the temple. Right close by, within 30 feet, we have the Gihon Springs. And you needed that rushing water to anoint the priests before they went to the temple. We also read in Scripture where Solomon was brought down by a mule to the Gihon Springs, right here. And he was anointed with the oil when he was a crowned king at the Gihon Springs, which is right where we are. And amazingly, archaeologists have recently uncovered this area that is dated to the First Temple period, and it has within it channels. If you look here, this is a channel where the blood ran. The blood ran here. They would kill the animals, and then the blood would go through here. We could see where the animals were actually tied up. This is where the rings went through, and this tethered the animal. When archaeologists came here, they found just piles of bones all through here, evidence of animal sacrifices, and they found these unique grooves in the ground. And these are believed to be, Eli Shukran told me, the archaeologist here, that these were stands, like wooden stands or metal stands. So this area here, going well over there and here, is an old, ancient sanctuary, which I believe is a part of Solomon's temple itself.
You got the blood channel, you got the olive press right there. You've got little hooks, stone hooks in the side of the wall where you could tie off animals. And it's probably 10 yards from the Gihon Springs. Perfect place to have water. Because if you're doing a lot of sacrifices, you need water for that. Is this Solomon's temple? I don't know. Is it Herod's temple? I don't know. But according to a top Israeli archaeologist, it is a temple. And he is not ready to say it was the temple of Solomon or the temple of Herod, but he said it was a temple. And it's in the same place that 2 Chronicles 3:1 says Solomon set up or built the temple to the Lord. It's in the city of David, right near the Gihon Springs.
Could it be that this ancient sanctuary is what remains of Solomon's temple? Herod's temple, which was built above Solomon's, was completely destroyed in 70 AD. But these remains, covered over by the Babylonians in 586 BC, fit perfectly with 2 Chronicles 3:1.
This stuff is blowing my mind. We think that these rocks around us are telling us that this is the exact place of Solomon's temple. And everything is pointing to this place and no other. It's not on the Temple Mount. It's in the city of David by the Gihon Springs, which is gurgling just a few feet away from where I'm standing right now.
Well, I think one of the things we need to tread carefully because it's so emotional. We need to realize we're dealing with deeply held beliefs. So we need to do that with some compassion on the one hand. But at the same time, I see it as a healthy thing because it should draw us in the direction of re-examining our scholarship. There are certain places where your big challenge isn't finding new evidence per se. The biggest challenge is to set aside your presuppositions so they don't get in the way of discovery. I think that the position of the temple being in the city of David has merit, of course. It raises all kinds of other questions.
The fact that the scriptures say that the temple was in the city of David and it had to be near the Gihon spring. And I look at the Temple Mount and there's no spring up on the Temple Mount. So I've become a firm believer in the fact that the temple was not up on the Temple Mount. I'm convinced it was right there in the city of David.
If indeed the temple was located in the city of David, what implication does it have for today?
Obviously, a lot of Christians are saying, well, if the temple's ever going to be rebuilt, it's got to be rebuilt right where the Dome of the Rock is. Wow. That's not going to set off World War III, is it? But if the real temple was in the city of David, which is to the south of where the Dome of the Rock is, significantly to the south, outside the current city walls of the city, then the temple can be rebuilt in the city of David and not touch the Dome of the Rock. That has incredible political implications, quite obviously.
In Luke 8:17, there is a fascinating verse.
For nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, and nothing concealed that will not be made known and come to light.
Could it be that the temple is one of those things that's hidden, that will be revealed, that is concealed, that will come to light? If we're ever going to find the temple, I think we need to use the Bible. And the Bible is telling me that the temple has to be in the city of David, in the stronghold of Zion, and the luring pull of oral traditions needs to be ignored. That's where we'll find truth, is in the Word of God, and not what man is guessing, but what God is telling us.
Good morning, world.
תן בי את שוכחך, תן בי את כוח דברך, מלא אותי, מלא אותי. תן בי את שוכחך, תן בי את כוח דברך,
Wonderful fire of your spirit. Sarah Lieberman there singing, ministering to us from Israel. Tomorrow we're going to hear Sarah Lieberman's testimony on Good Morning World. Tomorrow Carola and I make strawberry jam. It's seasonal eating. It's that time of the year. It's going to be a fantastic Thursday because tomorrow we go back to the city of David. That's right. The guide Anarina Hyman will be showing us with Joshua and Caleb touring us through the ancient city of David. So lots coming up tomorrow. I also hope to be joining the guys who are helping farmers in Judea and Samaria sometime live, either tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. Not sure. It's all up in the air. It's all in his hands. Listen, thanks for being with me. I've got to get to work. I know you've got to get to work. A great show. Explosive, huh? Tell somebody about it. By the way, all of my thanks to Bob Cornuke. You can catch all these videos on YouTube. Search him out. Wonderful. Also, thanks to Sarah Lieberman for that wonderful worship today. Wrapping it up. Gotta go. Have a wonderful day. The Lord bless you if your day is finished. Wonderful if your day is starting. Encourage somebody else like you would like to be encouraged. Ciao. Love to hear from you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that little bell notification at the bottom. Every time we post something, you'll be getting it. To all my patrons, thank you so much for your support, guys. Without you, until tomorrow morning, lots of love. Keep smiling, keep shining. From me, Rory, Alec.
Welcome home. Beautiful, beautiful.
Good morning, morning, morning.